From the beginning, Ishmael was born into a world of tension. His very existence was the result of human impatience, Sarah and Abraham trying to help God's promise along. But even though Ishmael was not the child of promise, God still had a plan for him. Beneath the vast canopy of desert stars, Abram, later Abraham, gazed at the heavens, clutching God's promise of descendants as numerous as the stars. Yet as the years passed, his wife Sarai, later Sarah, remained barren. Desperate to fulfill the promise, she turned to her Egyptian maidservant, Hagar. "Go, sleep with my maidservant," Sarai said, her voice heavy with both sorrow and determination. "Perhaps I can build a family through her." Hagar conceived, and with her pregnancy came a shift in the household. Hagar looked at Sarai with contempt, and Sarai in turn lashed out at her. Abram, caught in the tension, said, "Your servant is in your hands. Do with her whatever you think best." Sarai treated Hagar harshly, and in despair, Hagar fled into the wilderness. Alone in the desert, Hagar collapsed by a spring of water. Tears streamed down her face as she cried out in her distress. Suddenly, an angel of the Lord appeared to her. "Hagar, servant of Sarai," the angel said, "where have you come from, and where are you going?" "I am running away from my mistress," Hagar replied. The angel's voice was firm yet filled with compassion. "Go back to your mistress and submit to her. I will increase your descendants so much that they will be too numerous to count. You are now pregnant and will give birth to a son. You shall name him Ishmael, for the Lord has heard of your misery." Ishmael's name, meaning God hears, would forever remind Hagar of the divine promise. She returned to Abram's household, carrying not only her son but the assurance that God saw and heard her suffering. When Ishmael was born, Abram was 86 years old. For 13 years, Ishmael was the sole heir of his father's love and legacy. Abram raised him with pride, teaching him the ways of faith and leadership. But when Abram was 99, God appeared to him and made a startling declaration. "Sarai, your wife, will bear you a son, and you will call him Isaac. I will establish my covenant with him as an everlasting covenant. But as for Ishmael, I have heard you. I will bless him. I will make him fruitful and will greatly increase his numbers. He will be the father of 12 rulers, and I will make him into a great nation." Ishmael grew up as the son of Abraham, but not as the heir. For years he likely believed he would inherit Abraham's blessing. But then Isaac was born, and everything changed. At some point, he realized, "I am not the chosen one." Though Ishmael would not be the child of the covenant, God assured Abraham that Ishmael's life had purpose and blessing. When Isaac was born, the household celebrated, but the arrival of a second son brought tension. One day, during a feast celebrating Isaac's weaning, Sarah saw Ishmael mocking Isaac. Her protective instincts flared. "Get rid of that slave woman and her son," she demanded of Abraham. "That woman's son will never share in the inheritance with my son Isaac." Abraham was deeply troubled. Ishmael was his son, and the thought of sending him away pierced his heart. But God spoke to him. "Do not be distressed about the boy and your slave woman. Listen to whatever Sarah tells you, because it is through Isaac that your offspring will be reckoned. But I will make the son of the slave into a nation also, because he is your offspring." With a heavy heart, Abraham gave Hagar provisions and sent her and Ishmael into the wilderness. The rejection of Ishmael is one of the most heartbreaking moments in Scripture, but it is also one of the most relatable. Many people know what it feels like to be pushed aside, to feel like they don't belong. In the desert of Beersheba, Hagar and Ishmael wandered until their water ran out. Weak with thirst, Hagar placed Ishmael under a bush and walked away, unable to watch her son die. But Ishmael's cries reached heaven. An angel of God called to Hagar, saying, "What is the matter, Hagar? Do not be afraid. God has heard the boy crying as he lies there. Lift the boy up and take him by the hand, for I will make him into a great nation." God opened Hagar's eyes, and she saw a well of water. Revived by the water, Ishmael survived and grew up in the wilderness of Paran, becoming a skilled archer. As Ishmael grew, he forged his own path. His independence, shaped by his experiences in the wilderness, became a defining characteristic. Hagar found him a wife from Egypt, and he fathered 12 sons who became tribal leaders. These sons formed the foundation of 12 tribes that spread across the ancient world, fulfilling God's promise. Ishmael's descendants became a great nation, traditionally associated with the Arab peoples. Ishmael didn't just survive, he thrived. Though he was cast into the wilderness, God sustained him. He became a skilled archer, a leader, and the father of a great nation. Despite the separation from his father's covenantal line, Ishmael's life was marked by God's presence and blessings. He and Isaac reunited briefly to bury their father, Abraham, a moment of reconciliation that spoke to the enduring bonds of family. His story is a reminder that hardship does not mean defeat. He could have let his circumstances define him, but instead, he adapted and grew stronger. He learned resilience. Ishmael lived in the desert, a harsh and unforgiving place. He had to fight for survival. He built a legacy. He became the father of 12 princes, just as Isaac's descendants would form 12 tribes. Ishmael's story is not one of rejection, but of divine purpose. His life serves as a reminder that God sees and hears all people, even those on the margins. Through his descendants, Ishmael fulfilled the promise given to Hagar in the wilderness. He became the father of a great nation, a testament to God's faithfulness. And love. Enjoy the story. Please like and subscribe. Don't forget to share.